Well, well, well. If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you know things have been chaotic lately. Everywhere you look, there's drama. Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones making headlines, speculation about free agency, debates over the upcoming draft. There are so many moving pieces that it feels like we're walking into a season full of uncertainty. And let's be honest, that uncertainty is frustrating. One moment, we're talking about how talented this roster is. The next, we're wondering if we even have what it takes to compete with the best in the league. Every year, the same question lingers. Is this finally the season the Cowboys break through? Or are we heading for yet another disappointment? But amidst all this, there's one thing that should have you excited. One thing that might just be the key to shifting the entire culture of this team. And no, it's not a new superstar signing. It's not a blockbuster trade. It's not even the X's and O's of a brilliant new scheme. It's Brian Schottenheimer. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, another coordinator change? Big deal. Stick with me. Because Schottenheimer brings something that this team has been missing for a long time. Something that could make all the difference in whether the Cowboys remain stuck in mediocrity or finally become a team that can win when it matters most. But let's make this interactive. I want to hear from you. What's your biggest concern about the Cowboys right now? Is it coaching, the front office, the lack of depth in key positions? Drop a comment and let's get the discussion going. And hey, if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Because trust me, this conversation is just getting started. Up next, we dive into who Brian Schottenheimer really is and why he might be exactly what the Cowboys need. And let me tell you, it's not just about football. All right, so let's talk about Brian Schottenheimer. Because if you're only thinking of him as just another offensive coordinator, you're missing the bigger picture. Schottenheimer comes from a football family. His father, Marty Schottenheimer, was one of the most respected coaches in NFL history. And if there's one thing that runs deep in the Schottenheimer bloodline, it's discipline, leadership, and a relentless focus on building teams the right way. But here's the thing. Brian isn't just riding his father's legacy. He's spent years carving out his own path, working with multiple NFL teams and proving that he understands the modern game. More importantly, he understands people. And if there's one thing that sets winning coaches apart, it's that ability to connect with their players on a deeper level. That brings us to his most recent press conference. If you haven't watched it yet, let me sum it up for you. This guy gets it. Schottenheimer isn't just focused on X's and O's. He's not here just to call plays or design a high-powered offense. He's focused on something much bigger, the culture of this team. He's talking about leadership, accountability, and unity, things the Cowboys have desperately lacked in recent years. And that's why he's exciting. Because while talent wins games, culture wins championships. And if the Cowboys are ever going to get back to the Super Bowl, they need someone who can bring this team together. But let's make this interactive. What do you think is more important for a football team? Talent or mentality? Vote in the poll, and let's see where the fan base stands on this. One more thing. If you're still not convinced that Schottenheimer is the guy to watch, just wait until you hear about what he's doing off the field. Because trust me, that's where you start to see what kind of leader he really is. All right, if you weren't already excited about Brian Schottenheimer, this is where things get really interesting. Because it's one thing to talk about culture, but it's another thing to actually build it. And that's exactly what Schottenheimer is doing. Let's start with Micah Parsons' Pins for Purpose charity event. A lot of people showed up, but guess who was there, fully engaged, supporting one of his players? Schottenheimer. He didn't have to be there. He wasn't making a public statement. He wasn't looking for cameras. He was simply showing up for one of his guys. Then there's the story about Osa Odigizua. Schottenheimer heard that Osa was at a restaurant and sent him a bottle of champagne. Now, that might seem like a small gesture, but think about what it means. How many coordinators go out of their way to do something like that? These things matter. Because a football team isn't just a collection of players, it's a brotherhood. And when players feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves, they play differently. They fight harder. They push beyond their limits. Think back to the Cowboys of the 90s. That team wasn't just talented, they were connected. They had each other's backs, and it showed on the field. And if you ask the greats, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, they'll tell you, chemistry wins championships just as much as talent. So let's bring it to you. What do you think is the biggest thing missing from the Cowboys right now? Is it coaching? Leadership? Team chemistry? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear from you. But here's the best part. This isn't just about being nice or creating a feel-good atmosphere. It directly impacts what happens on the field. And in the next part, we're going to break down exactly how Schottenheimer's leadership is going to translate into wins. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Schottenheimer is building a strong culture, but how does that actually translate into winning games? Well, here's the reality. Football isn't just about talent. It's about trust, chemistry, and a shared mentality. And that's where the Cowboys have struggled in recent years. Think about the last few seasons. How many times have we seen this team look like a contender, only to fall apart in key moments? The talent has been there. The athleticism has been there. But something's always felt off, right? And that's because this team hasn't always played as one. There were moments when the defense was dominant, but the offense couldn't move the ball. Other times, the offense was firing, but the defense couldn't stop anyone. Even within the units themselves, it often felt like the Cowboys weren't completely connected, and that's a huge problem. Because the teams that win championships, teams like the Chiefs, the 49ers, and, yes, the Cowboys of the 90s, don't just play with each other. They play for each other. That's exactly what Schottenheimer is working to fix. His entire approach is built around connection, making sure players feel valued, making sure they trust the coaching staff, and most importantly, making sure they trust each other. When players buy in at, that level, they push harder, they hold each other accountable, and they play with a different kind of intensity. And let's be real, this is something the Cowboys desperately need. For too long, it's felt like this team has had different factions, offense, defense, special teams, each doing their own thing. If Schottenheimer can bring everyone onto the same page, that could be the missing piece that finally gets the Cowboys over the hump. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think the Cowboys have played like a united team in recent years? Vote in the poll and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Because if Schottenheimer really is the guy to bring this team together, then we have to ask the big question. Could he be the best coach the Cowboys have had since Jimmy Johnson? That's what we're diving into next. All right, let's get real. We've seen big-name coaches come and go in Dallas. We've seen talent-packed rosters that should have made deep playoff runs. But since Jimmy Johnson left, the Cowboys haven't been able to get over the hump. So, could Brian Schottenheimer actually be the guy to change that? Here's the thing. Jimmy Johnson wasn't just a great strategist. He was a leader of men. He knew how to get the best out of his players, not just by coaching X's and O's, but by creating an environment where guys were all in. That's what made those 90s Cowboys unstoppable. And when you look at Schottenheimer, you see some of those same qualities. He understands that a coach's job isn't just about drawing up plays. It's about building a winning mindset. It's about making sure every player believes in one goal and plays like they're brothers on the field. That's exactly what he's doing right now in Dallas. Now, does that mean he's guaranteed to lead the Cowboys to a Super Bowl? Of course not. But if there's one thing that should give you hope, it's that, for the first time in a long time, the Cowboys have a coach who gets it. So, what do you think? Could Brian Schottenheimer be the best coach the Cowboys have had since Jimmy Johnson? Drop your take in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. And if you're fired up about this, make sure to like this video, share it with fellow Cowboys fans, and subscribe so you don't miss our next breakdown. We've got a huge live session coming up, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. Because if you're not excited about Brian Schottenheimer now, you're not paying attention.